Bit of a licorice all sorts this week. Got a million and one jobs to do this weekend. Starting with these pins. We've been slowly working through grinding these now. Got 3 of them done. I've got 1 more for the eccentrics to do. This one here. And I got the other 2 smaller ones for the expansion gear done. So yeah, we're getting through them. But that's not all what we got to do today. We got a lot of other stuff we need to get done, so let's crack on and see how much we can get done. So this is the last of the hardened pins for the eccentric straps. All I've been doing is chucking them up with that tailstock and being very gentle with them. As you can see, I'll bring them in closer. As you can see, we ain't got a lot to grip onto, but it's turning out to be just enough just to grind these. So we're going to get this one done, and then we're going to bring you back. I think the next thing I'm going to do is see about getting these anti-rotation pins in, these little keys, see if I can get them glued in, and then these little pins will be done. There we go, that's the last of them. The only thing we got to do now is fit these little keeper pins. So I'm thinking I might use a bit of benzola, liquid metal, and then get them fixed into the pins. And then we'll probably have to just grind them down a bit. Not sure if you can see it now on the other side of this one. You should be able to see that there, that little notch, that pin. Bit of grit in that one. So that pin should go. You want to line up with that hole, and then just stop that pin from rotating. Once we got our eccentric on there, not the eccentric, the valve link. That's where the block lies there. So we don't want the pin to pivot in this portion. So we just want the block to run on there. That's what them little pins are for. So let's see about getting them glued in. It's a good fit, that is. There's going to be no play side to side in that. There we go. Let's just get that glued in. Right, so here's what we got. It's probably not the right stuff. It's basically like a liquid metal. Benzola's probably got the right product for this. Go look at their Instagram page. And make sure you read the comments. They got a few good demonstrations on how to use their product on there. So anyway, I'm going to try this because it's what I got. We ain't going to need a lot, which is good because it's bloody well expensive. When they use it, they say mix the whole pot to the whole pot. Well, I think that might be a bit extravagant for what we're doing. So we'll just dab a bit more in there, and probably shouldn't have mixed that in there, should I? Oh, you idiot. Never mind. Got here, nice little scoop. Well, right, we'll try that. Obviously, once these are in the eccentrics, it's never going to come out anyway, so it really don't matter too much. Something like that. And what I'll do is I'll come back and just grind this top portion off. That give us our little keeper. There we go. I'll just do that on all of them. Put a dab of oil on them, stop them rusting up in the meantime. Rest them. In their homes. You see I've got this waste shaft all painted up, so that's ready to go back on. These eccentrics are ready to go back on, but I'm not going to put them on until I've done the big and little end bearings on the engine. I don't want these, when I'm rotating the crank, I don't want these flapping around because we still ain't got our links on the other end. So that's probably about it, all I'm doing on the Wallis today. Slow and steady progress. So the next job on the list, everybody's coming back from Castle Combe the other day. As you can see by the state of the tin work here. I don't know whether this non-return valve for the lubricator was leaking back, or whether it was just leaking on this fitting and pushing the oil out here. But we want to have a look at that really before we next take it out. So I'm going to have this off and have a look at that valve. Just loose. That might be an easy fix. I think that was just loose. We'll have it out now, I suppose. I'm sure there'll be a ball and a spring in there somewhere. So all you're doing, this is your lubricator for the cylinders. All it does is pump steam oil through this ratchet mechanism on a plunger at the back. That pumps with pressure into the valve chest there, and it atomises, and that's what lubricates your rings, your pistons, your slide valves, and the rest of it. So it's a very important part of the operation. Obviously it needs a one-way valve so that steam pressure from the valve chest doesn't blow back into the lubricator and just chuck all your oil out. So that's what this is. You see down, I doubt you're going to be able to see it, but down in there's a small ball bearing. It looks like it's kept in there by a small screw on the back there, see? That ball bearing's not going to come out of there, so shouldn't be anything wrong with that. I think it just wants sealing up. So I'll get all this cleaned up and we'll see about getting that sealed up better. Of course, as the steam engine's now touched it, it's going to leak. This is just my motorcycle degreaser, because it's what we got. Some people are going to moan saying it's not a motorcycle, you can't use that. Ah look, there's a means of a fibre washer on there then. We just put a new one in. These flat faces aren't supposed to have anything. There's a gasket, I don't think. But a fibre washer will help for a while until it disintegrates. I think I'm just going to whack another fibre washer in there. And a bit of thread tape on this small fitting. It's very important things like this don't leak, because if it's leaking, it's not going into the cylinder, so you ain't got any lubrication. So I reckon a little fibre washer like that should sort our problem out. Alright, find some thread tape and we'll put this back together. Easy fix. Alright, dodgy thread tape acquired. Our non-return valve. This stuff sort of happens on the road when you're going down. If you ever think you're going to go out for a nice quiet journey and not have any issues, you don't want to be driving around one of these, because these things happen all the time. Right, go on there. Well, what am I doing? Right, take that, save that for later. Right, just need to steam it up and test it now. Not going to do that today. Right, next. Right, so I'm looking at putting the tender and axle boxes and bits back on this engine soon. But there's a few things we need to address, which I'm not going to be able to do here. One of them being this spring. I'm going to have to get someone to make us another one of them, so I'm going to get that washed off, cleaned up, so we can send that away as a pattern. Something I would like to do, which I'm not going to get a chance to do, is remake this axle box. I'll bring you in a bit closer and we'll take a look at it. So the axle box, these are all out of Lauren, of course, and this is the axle box. And these are your axle boxes, which slip up and down inside the axle box, which gives you suspension, which these springs go in there like that. And then that is your spring, your suspension for the rear of the engine. With this axle box, it's had a hard life and it's been cracked and welded back together and braced up with this brace around the outside, but we've never had any problems with it. I would like to remake it, but there's just not in the budget at the time to do that right now, so that's going to be a job for next time we take the engine apart. I want to get the motion work back together, get the tender on, and later on we can pull that back out and have a pattern made or fabricate one or whatever. But other things we need to do with this lot before it goes back in. a lot of these threads I've pulled out on these big retaining bolts. A lot of the threads is knackered, so we're going to have to bore them out and thread an insert in and repair them. But all this is going to go back on as it is. Like I say, we'll have to come back to this sometime. But what I am over here for is this lump here. This is your change gears. It's your top speed pinion, and these are your two change gears. But I've got the blanks for these. I've been putting off machining them because I've got to figure out how to cut gears. So I'm going to start making a look at that today. I'm going to get these measured up, get it all written down, and sit at home and try and work it all out. But like I say, we need to get a blank for this. I've done the blank for the low speed gear. We need to figure out all the pitches, dimensions, and I'm thinking about making a pattern up, just getting a laser cut profile of the two gears, just for a test before we go in, you know, cut the thousands of pounds worth of steel. So I'm going to get some measurements of this, count the teeth, write it all down in my book, and see about figuring that lot out. Right, so I lied to you, that's not the high speed change gear, that's actually the final drive pinion. I'll have to find the high speed gear. In here we should have big old micrometer. And in this book we should have some dimensions already, but I just want to double check. Right, so I've got the gear centres written down here. So that's your centre of your crank to your centre of your second shaft. Got that jotted down in there. I've got it jotted down there as well. I think that's what it was on the drawing. And that's what we come out at. Obviously measuring off of these worn existing gears is not going to be tremendously accurate. But it will give me an idea. So that is the 60 tooth gear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1. 59. That's 59, not 60. So basically I'm just going to go around, I'm going to count all the teeth, I'm going to measure the OD of these blanks, take it all home and then work it out. Right, so there's slow and there's slow and there's slower. So check out our official drawing. And that's correct. So I get some dimensions for those, but you can see the state of the gear teeth. There's barely anything left on the profiles. I got a blank for this one made, but we need to get another piece for this one. Right, so I think I've got this figured out. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I don't quite understand it all myself, but this is all I've done. Is I've worked out the circular pitch, which apparently is the distance between, well, almost like halfway up these teeth. There's a line, that's your circular pitch, and I've worked that out to be 1 inch 875. I put that into the computer and that's told me the module of the gear, which is 15.119, and I've just used an online calculator then to basically draw up the gears, and it's coming out with a centre measurement of, not sure if you're going to be able to see that or not. Your basically is coming out with a centre measurement of 589.64. We've measured our centres at 589.73, so our gear centres are slightly bigger by 0.1 mil. So that's all seeming like it's working out correct. We're doing a 20-degree pressure angle. And that's basically it. So now we should be able to download that DFX file, send it off to the laser cutters, and we can have some blanks cut out for us, and we can test fit them before we cut the real thing. So that is the plan. So that's done for now. So the centre measurement I'm got on about is this. This is the end of the crank. This is where the change gears, small change gears will go. And the centre distance is the centre of this crank to this second shaft. This second shaft goes across the engine to the final drive, which then powers the diff to drive the engine. So the distance I'm going on about, centre distance, is between these two here. All I've done for that is measured over these two shafts, took an array of measurements, and worked that out. Now you should be able to see all the chicken scratches. These are all average measurements we've taken in all different places. And that's give us our actual centre difference. So that's give us our actual centre distance, which is 0.1 mil bigger than the gears, which is good. So that's the end of that for the minute. We'll get them laser cut. Laser cutting's quite accurate, so should give us an idea if we've done anything major wrong. And be cheaper if we do cock it up, we can work it out again. But I'm pretty confident that we got that correct. So on to the next job. So in the yard we still got the big boiler. I took the two end covers off. I didn't know why, but I was expecting to see the flues, but obviously they've been welded up. So the job we're going to have to do is get these cut out so you can see the original riveted flues and get a good look at her. This obviously wasn't original, this has been added in. So I want to get them removed, get them cut out. Not today, future project, but we can have a little sneak peek inside. I've knocked out one of the doors so we can have a look inside. As you should be able to see now, got a bit of an echo, but this boiler is in absolutely immaculate condition. Well looked after. There's the original flues, all riveted sections. And you can see down here this end the supports. These are riveted supports for this front. And they're riveted to the front of the boiler. So basically there's two tubes or flues. That's where your hot gases go. That's what this space obviously is your water space. So this would be completely full or half full water, and then them tubes is what's providing the heat transfer to make the steam. But there's a look inside her. Very, very nice condition for its age. Real thick plate. They would have done this plate rolling. Well, I don't know how they would have done it, but it's quite impressive stuff. The size of them rivets. Can't really see the scale from here, but it's a good 2-inch head on that rivet. and the date. You found a date on it. Where was it? There's the date. I doubt you can make it out, but that looks like 1903. I said that's when it was made, 1903. Don't know what all these other ones are. I suppose there's the pounds. But yeah. I mean, on this, every rivet on this boiler is just immaculate. So it's a work of art, really. Like I say, it's still in the way. We're just waiting for the crane to come back so we can move it around into its final resting position, which is going to be over there up against that hedge. Which leads me on to the next job we got to do, and that is sort out this oils crane. This old 1897, I think it was made, oils crane. We've taken this to a couple of rallies this year, but it hasn't been touched since it come back from rallies last year, which was the last one we went to was Fairford. So I haven't touched it, so all we've done is we just dropped it here. So we need to go through this, make sure it's all safe, get the jib lowered down so they're all ready to go. So we can load it up and take it to Welland and have a play out there for the weekend with it. So I'm going to get geared up, we've got to sort the compressor out, and then we'll run it over and make sure everything's all working as it should. I can't see there being any problems, but it's sitting quite a while now, so just want to go over and oil everything, get it running, get the jib down, and get it ready to load, really. Right, so we've had an oil up, we give her an oil bath. Let's see if we can breathe some life back into her. Let's fire out the compressor. I've oiled the line, so it should oil the cylinders. So let's fire out the compressor and see if we can wake this old girl up. there we go, all laid down, ready to load up. Ready for the weekend fun at Welland when that comes. So that's it, good job done, and on to the next one. Cheers!